Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Empowering Your Kids Outside the Box. I'm so excited that I'm on episode 3 now. And I'm happy to have Reagan here. Reagan, you told me how to say your last name, and now I'm like,
My name is Reaganvickich.
Vickich, yes. Thank you. It's a really cool last name. And I met Reagan at I don't even remember the name of that pizza place, but it was a pizza place, and I was with Cisco, my man, and we were looking for a place to watch the Astros in Austin. And in Austin, it's all about the Longhorns. So we happened to sit next to the only other Astros fans, and that was
all night long too.
Yes, that was Reagan and her husband. So that's how we connected, and I asked her if she was on Facebook, and I found her, and now here I am. I knew there was a reason that we sat next to you guys, more than just talking about the Astros.
We didn't even talk about our kids. We didn't even know. I didn't even
I know.
you were a homeschooler. You didn't know I was a homeschooler until you started your.
Yeah. And then you chimed in. You're like, oh my gosh, I have things to say. And so here we are. So how many kids do you have?
We have 3 girls. Our oldest, Haley, is almost 20. She'll turn 20 this summer. She attends Georgetown. She attends university in Georgetown called Southwestern University.
Yeah.
We were up for the weekend visiting her, which is why we were there.
Okay.
I have Caitlin, who will turn 17 on Monday. She is our homeschooler. And then we have Allison, who is 14, and she attends the local middle school. She's in 8th grade. She'll go into high school next year.
Okay. Wow. Well, lots of girl stuff. I'm sure you've had lots of like girl hormone stuff going on in your house.
Yeah. We used to joke with Mike and say the only mailbox he gets, or the only mail he gets is his mailbox.
Okay.
But now we have a dog, so he gets to have the puppy as well.
That's funny. Well, okay. So your middle one is the one that's homeschooled. So what led up to that where she ended up being homeschooled?
Well, I'll even start out a little bit before that. I taught in public school for 9 years before we had kids. I taught here in Houston. I taught in a bilingual setting. I speak Spanish. And
that's great. Yeah.
Said to my husband, I will never, ever homeschool. There's no reason to homeschool. These people that homeschool in Texas are crazy. And I said to him, there's so many good things out there for public school. Why would you ever want to do this to your family? And that came back full circle. When Caitlin was in kindergarten, we knew something wasn't quite right. She was a really shy kid who didn't like to talk, and her learning just was stagnant. It would grow up a little bit and then it would just peter off. 1st grade, we moved to a whole different school district. So we thought, okay, there's going to be some learning curve. And in this 1st grade class, it was the kids who are 6 years old were switching back and forth. You have this teacher for English and this teacher for science. And then we come back for, and it was a lot for Caitlin. And they were expecting 1st graders to be fully fluent in reading and writing, completely. Caitlin did not grow. She was for 6 months at the same reading level. And they're like, she's just young. Her birthday's not until May. There's nothing really wrong with her. And my dad is dyslexic. And I think we've realized that I have tendencies. Anyway, in 2nd grade, she got into class and just bombed 2nd grade the first couple of weeks. And we said, test her. And we did. And she qualified. And you have to remember, to qualify in Texas, it's 12% of the population have a learning disability. 12% of everybody. They only qualify the lowest, like 3%. Because they don't have enough services to give to all the kids. So if she qualified, she was really, really far.
Wow.
Everybody else. And she had to go to before school tutorials. She had to be pulled out during class. She had to be with the teacher more. After school homework would take her an hour, hour and a half to do. And we had a meeting with the teacher, and the teacher said, you know, she would be doing so much better if she just tried harder. And my husband literally did the whole hold her back, don't go past this.
Wow.
And I was like, that's it. That's it. How can they say these things? These kids that are learning that. Anyway, we said it was our obligation as parents to have her tested outside of the school district. We wanted to know everything there was about how we could help her and what we needed to do. And we found out she's mixed dominant, she's dyslexic, she's dysgraphic, she has ADD. And the psychiatrist said she will never fit in to what KDISD, which is a great independent school district, but he said she will never fit in. Excuse me. I went home that night, and my husband and I, we mourned the loss of expectations and what we thought. And she was also being bullied by the other kids that are like, oh, well, you can't read and you can't do this and you're stupid. And we said to each other, you get one shot of childhood, and it's on us now. It's not on her. We know these things are difficult. We know these things aren't right. What are we going to do to make sure that she has a happy childhood, to make sure that she learns? Because going to college is an expectation. It's not a, well, I guess if you want to, you can. No, all of our kids were like, you are set up to go to college. You are smart enough. You're able. And it was at that point in time that we were given two options: leave her in and work with her, or put her in a specialized school that costs $26,000 a year.
Wow.
To help her. And we're like, we can't do that with 3 kids.
Wow.
An hour drive every day just to get to the school, an hour home, and have 3 kids. We just couldn't do it. So we decided that she would not have to go back to school, and that we would start the journey as a homeschool family. And I remember my husband looking at me and saying, are you sure you're up for this? Do you think you're qualified to do this? That's what I do for a living.
Like, did you forget I'm a teacher? That's funny.
So, here in Houston, they have an amazing place called the Texas Reading Institute, the Family Literacy Center. And it's working one-on-one with kids that have a reading disability. And you are obligated to go 2 hours a week, and then you do the program 6 days a week at home.
Okay. Wow.
And we said that was going to be our focus. And that's what we did. My husband said, you can't do this alone, though. You cannot fully homeschool 100%. You need to have something else.
Good. Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Yeah. We found a co-op that didn't work, and then we found another thing that didn't work, but finally we did. When she started 6th grade, we found a great co-op that was perfect for what she needed. It was 2 days a week, and they guided us through it. They said, this is what we're doing. These are the books and resources. You're on your own. And we were able to really work with her and bring her up to where she needs to be now. She's still there. She'll be a senior next year. She is going, she wants to become a nurse. And we thought, I don't know. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of work. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But, we have set her up. The school works with the kids. They work well. She's passed a CLEP test for biology. She already has college biology done.
Wow.
She's taking dual credit classes from Laterno University, which is a great school that's small, that's really able to work with kids, and is thriving and successful. I don't think we were going to do that had we gone the public school route.
Yeah, I know. I feel like there's so many more options for kids that are homeschooled. Than, even though we think, oh, public school, they have choir, they have this or that, but there is all that and more for homeschoolers because you have more time to fill in with different things and like a patchwork of stuff going on there.
Yes, yes. We see Dr. West. She's a eye doctor that's developmental with the kids. And she told us, she said, the best thing you can do for your kid is to get them in some sort of sport that uses both sides of the brain.
Oh,
Swimming, soccer, gymnastics, anything that you cross that midline. And we joined, they had a homeschool gymnastics group. And she joined the homeschool gymnastics group and was very successful. We saw tremendous growth, not only from academic, but also socially and emotionally. She took off because she was successful. And it wasn't in a typical classroom that she had to be in.
mhm. Wow, that's amazing. And so your other daughters, did they ever once say, why can't I stay home or will you homeschool me?
You know, our oldest was very active in theater, and truthfully, homeschool didn't have a theater. She's a very social kid. I think she'd be one of those kids that would smother her parents into sleep if we took that away from her. That, you know, there were times when they would say, how come Caitlin gets to do XYZ? How come Caitlin gets to go and have McDonald's? Well, we were going down to the literacy center and we're doing lunch in the car. And we just told our kids, we love you guys all. It's not the same. We love you all, but each brain is individually different, just like we're made different.
Mhm.
We have to treat each person differently. And what you get, your sister won't get. But what your sister gets, you may not even want or need.
Yeah.
I will tell you during the pandemic, Caitlin didn't skip a beat. You know, her learning continued. She did not have any issues with
No interruptions.
no, nothing, nothing, not socially either, because the groups were so small. Those were her bubble.
Yeah.
Those were the kids we saw. Whereas my high school kid at the time, she was a junior to senior year. She became very depressed. She couldn't go to classes. She fell behind. She wasn't where she needed to be. The little one was in elementary school, beginning middle school. And you know, those Zooms for math and for reading and for everything else lacked. Thankfully, I had just done some of that math work with Caitlin because we were homeschooled, remember? So it was fresh in my mind and I kept her up and I was able to continue with her. I am now a tutor here in Houston for dyslexic children from my home.
Cool.
And it all started because of the gap we saw after COVID. After COVID hit, those kids that are in first grade that got nothing were pushed on to second grade, and they are so far behind and lacking. It's not because of the school system. It's not because of the teachers. It's just because they didn't have the instruction that they needed. Caitlin did not skip a beat. Not one day did she say, gee, I wish I was learning, because it was more like, wow, Caitlin, it's 3 o'clock. You're still working. Yeah, I have assignments due. I still have other things. And it was at that point in time, you know, my husband worked at the office all the time and he would only see what he wanted to see us homeschooling. He saw us arguing. He saw me crying because I don't think I'm good enough. I can't do this. But he didn't see what we actually did all day.
Yeah.
When he had to stay at home and work from home, he's like, wow, this is a really good program. This is really good learning.
Good.
It was at that point in time, we also asked, you know, our youngest, do you want to do this? Or do you want to continue? And she said, I want to continue the path I'm on just because her best friend is there. It's not because she didn't like what Caitlin was doing, but she needed her best friend to be with her.
Right. And that makes sense at that age for sure.
Yes. You know, we even at stages, we discussed high school in Texas. You're not there yet.
Right. I was going to ask you some questions about that.
Well, but in the state of Texas, you have to understand that if you start homeschooling and then decide to switch to regular public schools,
Mhm.
you'll have to prove your teaching, meaning your children will have to come in and take an entrance exam. If we did algebra, well, they have to get an 80% on the algebra test
Okay.
from the district to get credit for that. So we were really wondering, okay, this is a good break. You've homeschooled for 3 years. Do you want to go back to high school? Do you want to start off in ninth grade and be with peers and not have to worry about the testing? And we went and we saw the high school, and we went to they have a night where you can go and see all of the clubs and organizations. And it was so loud and so overwhelming and so many people that she shut down, and we were like,
Yeah.
no, this isn't what she needs. And the whole attitude of, if it's not fixed, or if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's
Right.
just like, leave it alone, people.
Yeah.
You left it alone and it's been good. I was very nervous about, I'm an elementary school teacher. How are we going to get through high school?
Yeah.
We're going to do these things.
That's what I'm worried about.
But it was a lovely co-op. We found a group of people that are doing what we feel is important. My oldest, when they'd write a paper, they'd turn it in and never see it again. Caitlin is writing a paper, you turn it in, you revise it, you turn it in, you revise it, you turn it in and get a grade.
Yeah.
So she's really learning the process of what it means to write
Mhm.
and how to write. And it's paying off. Math, she could not do very well. That's part of her disability. And we found a great thing online called Think Well. It's math online. There are math tutorials online, and you need to go back and watch the video, and you can watch the video, and you can watch the video. I watched the videos first, so I would know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then I was able to walk her through and help her with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do that a lot of the times, and I'll start looking at the math and I'm like, and I'll start telling her, yeah, this is the way to do it. Wait, nope. Sorry. That's not the way to do it. Like, so I'm learning.
Yeah, Khan Academy has great.
Yes, I use, Khan Academy is good.
Mhm. Yeah, so there's stuff out there for anybody. I really like, she's doing her sciences at her co-op. The biology teacher was a biology mom. It's all these moms, so the biology mom.
Hey,
Chemistry was taught by a dad who was a chemical engineer. They're like, he's a little bit up here, mom, but she
wow.
learned chemistry. She really learned chemistry.
Wow.
This year she's in dual credit anatomy and physiology from one of the parents that's a physical therapist. So
Wow.
when you're doing these things, find your tribe, find your people
Yeah.
that you can do things. I know here in Houston, they have 1-day academy, they have 2 days academy,
We
they
have
have
1-day academy, yeah.
places.
Yeah, my daughter was at the Rock Enrichment Academy, which is kind of like that 1-day academy. But there's lots of them popping up,
Yeah. And it's great, a great opportunity to be able to do things that you need to do and still learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So I know this question comes up all the time on homeschool Facebook groups, and I've kind of just ignored it for now because I'm overwhelmed with the moment. But later on in high school, people always ask, are you going to send Millie to high school? I'm like, well, if she decides to, but I just don't think I just don't think a public school will be good for her and her personality. So I know we're probably going to be homeschooling or doing, 1-day academy or some kind of online something. But I've heard that there is an online program that does credit kids high school credit, like a Celsius, I think, or something like that.
There's a couple of them I've heard.
But if they don't go do that and they're just homeschooled at the end to get their diploma, what are they doing? Are they just getting their GED or like?
No, you actually can graduate. You as the mom are the principal, the counselor and everything, and you put together your child's transcript. I
Okay.
know, and I can send you what we used from the public high school that has the graduation plans. We followed one of those plans. They have a
Okay.
4x4 plan, for example, 4x4, for English, for math, for science, for social studies. You
Mhm.
have to have a year of PE. And let me tell you, we've taken swim lessons all throughout. So there's your PE, it's like, okay, we can do it.
Okay.
Um, we followed that plan and we've kept a transcript. With the transcript from the parents that were older sharing their knowledge with us, they said, keep a list. Like if you say English, ninth grade English, keep a list of all the books that you've read, the grammar just keep a record of every
Okay.
single piece of all the books that you have, because they may come back and say, well, I don't know if we can give you credit for this. And you can say, well, this is what we did. We have not had one single problem with Laterno University accepting her graduation requirement checklist, as well as her transcripts. Lone Star here, which is a community college, has
Mhm.
not had any problems.
Okay. Well.
And I will tell you, I think you guys are part of the Austin Community College system.
Mhm.
Our community college has a dual credit program for high school homeschoolers, where
Okay.
they can get not only high school credit, but by the time they graduate, they can have their associate's degree
That's
as well.
amazing. Wow.
So it's just
Times have
something
changed.
I have to look into it just a little bit,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to see. I will tell you the other thing, everybody's saying now that homeschooler to get into college is test optional, or they say, oh, we're test optional. For homeschoolers, if we have the ACT or SAT and they score well, it shows that my kid has been learning and they are able.
Okay. All right. Wow. That's great. And this is Texas.
This
Just to,
is Texas.
yeah. Every
But I
state.
think every state has a graduation plan from their education board. So you
Mhm.
can just Google, Colorado homeschool
Yeah.
transcript or something, and they will be able to tell you what classes you need. If you have a specific college that you're wanting to go to, you might reach out and say, what classes or what do you need to have to apply and make sure you can get in.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a while before then, but I need to get prepared. I guess three more years until high school. All right, great. Well, and so I mean, I mean, she's about to be a senior, so this is about to be your last year homeschooling.
I'm kind of sad. I really am. I didn't think I would be so sad, but I've really enjoyed it because not only have I been teaching, but we've also been doing other things. Like she's the only one who really knows how to cook. And she's the only one who really knows how to
Aw.
plan her day accordingly. It's like she looks at her schedule and she looks at her plan and says, these are the things I need to get done before I go do X, Y, or Z. And then I can come back and finish before whatever.
Well,
She's the only one of my kids that I feel is truly prepared, not academically, but
mm,
life skill wise.
yes, yes. I think that's the big thing of the one of the biggest things they get from being home.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I feel like I definitely learned something. And so you're tutoring dyslexic kids. Is this
Yes.
privately or through another corporation?
It privately I use something called, I'm looking at it now, the Barton reading and spelling system. Out of all of the systems that we looked into, this was the one that was the most mom friendly.
Okay.
And it teaches spelling rules, it teaches reading rules. You go back to the very beginning of what does this letter mean? What does it sound like? What's it say?
Mhm.
And I've been surprised with how much business I've gotten. I was like, there's no way people are going to want to do this. But as a program, if kids are struggling and moms want to homeschool, it's also a great program that teaches how to teach reading so that they become very fluent readers.
That's
But
awesome.
no, I do it out of my house. I do it, sadly, it's only after school. It's never like during the day. It's always between after school and dinner time.
Mhm.
It's always booked. But it's something that I'm able to do because we used it with Caitlin. It's something we bought. It's not super expensive, but it is really, really great.
Nice. Okay, good to know. And so if somebody is watching this and wants to get in touch with you,
Mhm.
how can they get in touch with you?
I have an email, Reaganvickich, and it's spelled Reagan. V as in Victor, ICKICH @yahoo.com. And if
Okay,
you want to put
I'll put
my
it.
name, my link,
I'll put it in the show notes.
but they can also look up Barton Reading, and they can go to her site, and it is an amazing site that teaches you how to use it and the process and videos of everything you need to know about the system.
Okay, great. Wow, great. Well, thank you for sitting down and taking time in the middle of your day to chat with me and my audience, whoever they are.
I can't, what's that? I know you did one. I didn't know you had done another
Yeah.
video, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Yes, I did do a number 2 with my my friend Jillian. And then next, I have somebody in mind. So hopefully she'll be on board. I have a lot of people that are starting to come forward and say, "Oh yeah, I want to be on it too." So
I think I just was gonna say, I think the fact that there are so many people willing to talk about it, to try it out, it's not as scary as it used to be. When you say the word homeschool, you think, oh, I could never do that. My kids would be social recluses, and
yes, it is definitely evolved into something a lot more magical. And now, I mean, I know that as a public school teacher myself, I've had friends that are like, have always said, "You would never homeschool, would you?" You know, because they looked at me as a public school teacher, and I love teaching in certain environments. um, and I thought, I don't know. I mean, I kind of thought, I knew how middle school was and how the kids could be, and I was like, I don't know. Millie was always crying in the morning to go to school, kindergarten first and second grade half the year, and I'd always in my heart think, I don't know if I want to send her to school. I just felt like the light was always draining out of her, and I don't know if I'm supposed to send her to school, but I just didn't know if I had it in me to homeschool her. And so the pandemic happened, and it kind of just was like, well, here we go.
And if something doesn't work, try something different.
I
Change
know.
it. Your
Yeah,
kids
and
only have one shot at childhood. That's it. And if
exactly.
the light is draining, it's not worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely see her happier doing the things that we do. And we moved to this new area, Bastrop, where we're getting to know this really cool homeschool community. It's just more of a community feel than where we were. So it feels really good and lots of nature. So it's always fun to get out and explore. And then we come home and I work and she plays games and it's all good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's very flexible. So, well, thank you again. And I'll put all your information in the show notes so people can find you. And I'll let you know when this is up and ready. Thank you, Regan.
Wonderful. You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.